Skol, let's go, Viking fans. Relax, feel good, feel excited. Honestly, yes, of course, I'm excited that they won, but it's not even about the win. It's about J.J. McCarthy. The kid looked good. The kid showed promise. How many quarters is that now that he's played well? Are we counting quarters still? Is this what it's about? Look, as a person that has been backing J.J. McCarthy and on that bandwagon since before we drafted him, I'm here to tell you, give the kid some time. It's a rookie quarterback. Last year, he missed the whole year. He got no practice reps. People need to stop expecting him to be incredible. He's going to make mistakes. I don't care how good he played today. He's going to have duds coming up as well. Like, he's going to have games and picks and bad reads and things that come up. He's essentially a guy that today made his third NFL start. But you know what he has? Leadership, and he has potential, and he has glimpses of superstardom. And that is everything you need. And now, once you have that, and that foundation can be established with good coaching, good play calling, and obviously reps. This guy needs reps. The more he plays, the better. Look, I've been very honest. As a Viking fan, I've been brutally honest. I've been saying the expectation for this year is to develop J.J. McCarthy. It's not playoffs. It's not Super Bowl. It's let's get this kid to become our franchise quarterback. And this is how you do it. His numbers aren't going to jump off the box score, but if you watch the game, the kid has it. So now quit expecting him to have the numbers right now. Like, that's not how it works. Look, I went through the 2024 draft class and how many starts Drake May had last year, how he wasn't playing MVP football like how he's playing this year. But last year he got 13 starts to develop. That's what this year is about. And I said this not big picture wise. Big picture wise is obviously get your franchise quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. But this season wise, if you look at just this season and the expectations for this year, look, I said this 4-game gauntlet coming out of the bye week where you're going to play the Chargers last week. You played the Eagles before that. Now you played the Lions, and now you play the Ravens next week. You need one win out of those 4 games to just have a fighting chance if you really want to think about making the playoffs. Well, they got that win today. Huge win in Detroit, 27-24. The defense almost gave it away. KOC still had some questionable play calling at the end. I don't understand why you don't run it 3 straight times with Jordan Mason. At that point, the goal isn't even to score a touchdown. Of course, that's the ultimate goal. But I'm saying the goal is milk some clock and, pretty much guarantee yourself making it a 2-possession game. You're at the 2-yard line. I don't care if you run it 3 times and you lose yards every time. You would have killed so much clock, and then you kick the field goal, and it's a 2-possession game. And obviously, if you score a touchdown, wonderful. But putting JJ in a situation where he's got to throw it to Jefferson, and it's an incomplete pass, and if that's a good corner and he makes a good play, that could be a pick 6, and now you just screwed everything up for the rookie, essentially a rookie. Like, just run it, man. Learn your lesson. But besides that, obviously, everything else was good. Obviously, the defense played much better, except at the end, you can't give up the big play. And Isaiah Rodgers out there on an island giving up a 40-yard touchdown to Jameson Williams. Like, what are we doing? The defense still got to be better. Special teams, way too many flags. Xavier Thomas gets a holding call that negated a kickoff return for a touchdown. And then he's laughing on the sideline with the special teams coordinator. Why are you laughing? Especially from the coordinator. You better be on his ass. And send his ass to the bench. Then the next punt, he got another flag. That's what happens when you don't feel like you're going to be held accountable. Like, you are going to be really focused on not making any mistakes if your coach is on your ass. And they're laughing on the sideline after a holding. So that really bothered me. But special teams did make a play with a blocked field goal. I don't know how Isaiah Rodgers didn't return that for a touchdown when he's the fastest guy on the field and the kicker caught up. But, hey, overall, enough to get the win. Back to J.J. McCarthy. Look, everyone was all questioning why the Vikings got rid of Darnold and Jones to bring in McCarthy after 2 starts, 2 NFL starts. And they were counting quarters. That's how, nitpicky people were. They were like, well, he's only had 1 good quarter against the Bears. Well, he was 1-1. 1 win, 1 loss. And are we still counting quarters? Like, what are we doing counting quarters? Are we going to start counting how many good drives he has next? Like, let the kid develop. I don't know what the organization was thinking, but there's no way after those 2 games, a thought goes in your mind that you are going to move off McCarthy. The whole big picture plan was we're not going to re-sign Kirk Cousins. We're not keeping Sam Darnold. We're not going to offer everything to keep Daniel Jones on the roster or bring in Aaron Rodgers because we have a plan of a Super Bowl window with a quarterback we believe in, and we'll be on a rookie contract for the next 3 years after this one where we can take advantage of cap space. And you're going to move off that after 2 games? Give me a break. I'm not saying the organization was thinking that, but people were questioning that, like as if that was a real thing. And if it was a real thing for the organization, that's how you essentially end up in franchise prison. I mean, if you make a whole 3-year plan to be on a rookie deal and 2 games in, you switch the plan, well, then nothing that you did made sense anymore. So again, McCarthy better be the starting quarterback next year. That's just how it goes. Like, this is his development year. And, all these questions about, well, if he doesn't play well, then next year they might think about having a different starter. Like, what are we doing here? Also, has our defense proven to be a championship caliber defense before this game? No. So again, this win is about McCarthy. Of course, I wanted the Vikings to win, but if the defense would have shat the bed at the end, pardon my language there, and gave up the lead, and McCarthy had the same numbers and played the same how he ended up playing, I'd be so happy because we got glimpses of a franchise quarterback. And that's it. And now moving forward, he made mistakes in this game. He overthrew Justin Jefferson. He had a throw slightly behind Jalen Naylor, which ended up being an interception. I don't understand how I thought the tie goes to the offensive player. And also, if you were going to give that to the defense and the ball touched the ground and didn't move, that's fine. Okay, we'll give Detroit the interception. But then when Jefferson had that nice catch on the sideline and the ball touched the ground but didn't move, that's an incomplete pass. Something's not consistent there. But again, the play of the day, look, he made a touchdown to Jefferson on the first drive, which he was perfect, by the way, because the incomplete pass to Jordan Addison in the corner of the end zone, perfect ball. Tough catch to make, but it was only where Addison could catch it. And Addison makes those catches. So I'm not saying I expected him to make it, let's say. I mean, it's still a tough catch, but wouldn't have been surprised if he made it. And that would have been a perfect ball, perfect touchdown. But nonetheless, 2 plays later or 3 plays later, he still got the touchdown to Jefferson. So you feel great about that. Then he scrambles, hits Hawkinson for the touchdown. Hawkinson also had a just easy drop earlier, like later in the game. I don't know what we're going to do about Hawkinson and that massive contract. But overall, the misses, he's going to have those. And that's why right now, and you're going to coach that out of him. That's the whole point. The more reps he gets, the game will slow down as he's running out of the pocket and he's missing Jefferson by overthrowing him on the sideline. He has that rep now in the back of his head to remember, okay, settle, make sure your feet are set when you're making that throw, even if you're on the run, and it's a sure completion, 7 yards, he gets out of bounds. Like those little things you would expect to be a natural progression. So just keep him healthy, keep the pocket clean. And I mean, let's take a look at the play of the game because that one obviously has fans super excited, but it was 27-24 Vikings after the defense almost collapsed there at the end, pretty much did. And the offense had to come in and save the day. It's 3rd and 5 after they ran it twice. Well, the first one, also another great play by McCarthy, a 22-year-old quarterback. Snaps the football on 1st and 10. The fans are loud. You need a first down to win the game. Looks to his left. Jordan Mason went the wrong way, it looked like. All right, he's not there. What do I do? Panic and get down? No, he turned around and got 4 yards. That play, I wouldn't be surprised if Dan Orlovsky or a real NFL analyst talks about that play later this week because that's a huge drive starter. Because let's say that was a good handoff and Addison got 4 yards. That's a good first down carry on a essentially must run down because you're trying to get the Lions to waste timeouts. And McCarthy salvaged that mistake. Those are things that veteran quarterbacks do. They make up for others' mistakes. And right now, it should be the other players make up for McCarthy's mistakes because he's essentially a rookie. Well, in that play, he made up for someone else's mistake, got 4 yards. 2nd down, you ran it again with Mason. This time, it was a clean handoff. He got 1 yard. So this sets up 3rd and 5. And then, obviously, that's when you go for all the marbles. Good on KOC to trust him here. Again, it's a must-have it down, essentially. If you don't get it, it's an incomplete pass, and you're punting away to the Lions. But I would have also let McCarthy throw it or done something like that because, look, if you ran it and Detroit wastes their timeout, Detroit's going to get the ball back with over a minute and a half left to go. And we know what their offense is like, and they would only need a field goal. And your defense has just pretty much given up a huge drive to Detroit the drive prior. So I do like AOC here having the marbles to say, all right, McCarthy, go make a play. And this is what that looked like. So that was a play. I mean, you see it right here. It was set up for Naylor, and even Kevin Burkhardt's over here losing his voice. I mean, again, the numbers aren't going to show it. 13 for 24, about a buck 40, 2 touchdowns, and a pick from McCarthy. But he was making the plays when he needed to, and obviously you could feel it, and Burkhardt feels it here, and that's why Burkhardt, reacted the way he did, because you could just feel it. And McCarthy, it was his moment to take, and he took it here. Brian O'Neill with a great block there on Aiden Hutchinson. And ultimately, again, the line held up, and that's how you get it done. Take a look at it here one last time. But that was what sealed the deal. And then at this point, the Vikings could just kneel it. Good vibes all around. Again, I wasn't so concerned about the win today. I was mostly concerned about seeing something from J.J. McCarthy that gives you those glimpses that he's got it moving forward. And he did that. He did that. So at that point in the game, I already was satisfied with this game. The win was just bonus. And again, I think more big picture than I think this season particularly. And my priorities big picture. So I got that check. And then lucky for us, getting the win gives me hope for this season, maybe a playoff run or get into the playoffs, get McCarthy a playoff game of experience. That would be awesome. So again, that was huge because now next week, and the way I see it with the schedule is, if you lose to Baltimore, you're 4-5, but they are desperate for a win, but you still are going to be, fighting to maybe get a last wild card spot towards the end. So it keeps it exciting on top of the excitement of obviously hoping JJ stays healthy and watching him develop as the season goes on. Now, if they beat Baltimore, now we're talking. Now you're 5-4. You have 2 division games. One, you beat Detroit on the road. Green Bay lost today. So now you start trying to control that excitement, but think to yourself like, all right, they have a chance now. If they're 5-4 and that gauntlet is behind them, look, the schedule's still tough. Nonetheless, they have to play Green Bay twice. They still have Detroit again. Chicago's playing better, although today was a crazy game of terrible defense. But, there is some, Washington's on the schedule. So there's tough games still coming up. Seattle on the road. But at least if they're 5-4, now you're thinking, all right, realistically, there is a slight chance they could sneak into a wild card spot, right? Or if Green Bay and Detroit happen to drop the ball, then maybe you win the division on an outside chance. But mostly, again, maybe you get a wild card spot. But again, now, next week against Baltimore, I just want to see JJ play like he did today. Continue to develop. Continue to play smart football. Learn. KOC, the last thing I'll say, again, it's 3 minutes, almost 4 minutes left in the game. You're at the 2-yard line. Run the ball. Detroit had all 3 timeouts still, and you're up 7. If you get a field goal, great. And if you can get it to the 2-minute, warning, and you're up 10, now Detroit has to score 2 possessions, and they have their 3 timeouts, which they're going to waste, assuming you get the ball back. And now it's just a clock management game, and you pretty much have it in the bag. But we run the ball smartly on first down, and then you go to this McCarthy throw to Jefferson, which I already talked about, risky. It's incomplete. And then on third down, again, learning experience. Some of this is on McCarthy. Like if you go run the bootleg and you see that there's nothing there, just take a knee. You lose 5 yards, but you're still in field goal range, but the clock ticks. You waste 40 seconds off the clock, or Detroit has to burn a timeout. But obviously then he ran out of bounds, which is what you're not supposed to do because the clock stopped. But I blame that on KOC. You still got to keep in mind you've got essentially a rookie quarterback out there. Make the game easy for him when it doesn't have to be hard. And right there, you weren't down any scores. Just make it easy. Right there, run the ball 3 times. And if there's still a chance, if you believe in your offensive line, you need 2 yards. You should be able to get a touchdown. That's why you brought in Jordan Mason. That's why you drafted Donovan Jackson. So I hated that from KOC there. But again, that's my only nitpick on him. Aside from that, well done, Vikings. Well done. What an exciting and thrilling win. For those of you that obviously are still thinking this could be a year, congratulations. You beat Detroit. It is a huge win. I'm not trying to, downgrade that. But for someone like me that I feel like I'm more realistic about it, and thinking to myself, next year and the 2 years after that is the actual Super Bowl window. This is essentially the practice for that runway to the Super Bowl window. And today was a great practice for your rookie quarterback, essentially. Again, I keep calling him a rookie. I know he's a second-year guy, but last year, he missed a whole year. It's a redshirt year. So, third NFL start in Detroit. I mean, again, super impressive stuff. You could tell Brady and Burkhardt were super impressed. And obviously, I think most NFL people that watch are going to be super impressed. Just made throws when he needed to make and, was poised, under control. So much pressure on this kid. And again, the game's going to slow down. It's only natural that the more he plays, the more it's going to slow down. So you only can expect him to be better. And right now, he's a quarterback that you can win with. You're not going to win because of. But that's all you need this season. Give me a quarterback I can win with, because now it's on KOC, the quarterback whisperer, to be able to turn him from a quarterback you can win with to a quarterback you can win because. And now you would be able to have a quarterback you can win because for the next 3 years on a good deal with a team that doesn't need the quarterback that you can win because. And that's when you enter a Super Bowl window. So again, super exciting stuff. I'm pumped up. I'm glad McCarthy played great, and I'm glad they got the win, which I did not expect in Detroit. 2-0 in the division. Big time. JJ McCarthy, you, my man, are impressive. Impressive. Again, if you like this, if you're a Viking fan, subscribe, like, comment. Let me know how you guys are feeling. I'm super excited, as you can tell. But, I do talk a lot about big picture football stuff and all the teams. But every once in a while, and, probably more often now that McCarthy's actually playing, we'll be diving in and talking about the Vikings and breaking down what we see. And again, the defense, at least the run defense, was much better. I'm not sure why the Lions didn't try to just pound the Vikings, but maybe it's because the Vikings defensive line today actually held up. So well done, Vikings. Impressive win. JJ McCarthy, we believe in you. I believed in you. I'll still be watching and hoping to see this team grow into, hopefully, a Super Bowl contender in the years to come. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your Sunday.